Hi everyone. Today I'm coming to you for a chit chat of a totally different kind. No, I'm not going to do a chit chat get ready with me. What I need to talk to you about is something more important than that. First of all, let me preface this by saying that if you suffer from any type of depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, please consider long and hard before you watch this video, because I don't want to trigger any of your triggers by you watching me. It's very the potential is there for me to get upset, and I certainly don't want to upset you. So please, if you are the type to be triggered by these kind of videos, please don't watch. A couple of days ago, my niece, Chloe, she has a YouTube channel. It's called The Daily Chloe Show. And I hope you'll all go check her out. She will be 18 in April. She is a high school senior. And she has some wisdom way beyond her years. And she did a video about depression. And we talked a lot about it before I saw the video. And she and I had decided that we would like to do perhaps a series of videos where we're going to get, a difference of opinion. We're going to have the younger opinion and the older opinion, and about subjects that really bridge every age gap. And, I had been thinking I needed to put a lot of thought into this before I started. And then I saw a video by Cassie, whose channel is Thrifty. And I knew that I had to come on here and do my video now. So a little background on me. I suffer from clinical depression, anxiety, and I also have panic attacks. And most sadly, I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder from an event that occurred when I was 5 years old that no little girl should ever have to go through. And I'm not going to get into specifics on that event, but I will say this: if you are a parent or a grandparent, please make sure that you do your best to listen to your child, and also that you hesitate. How about just don't make your children, make them show affection to adults or anyone. If they, gosh, kids are so good at feeling out the situation. If we kept that spidey sense for the rest of our lives, man, we wouldn't have these broken relationships and silly decisions. So I just want to say that, here I am, 51 years old, and still to this day being extremely affected by events that occurred to me when I was so little. And, I didn't have the diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder until I sought out counseling for my depression and my anxiety and panic attacks. I have all of that since my stroke has increased tremendously. And I'll give you a little background on some stroke survivors, my husband included. We tend to have issues with, specifically I have social anxiety disorder, and we have issues with large crowds, loud noises, sudden movements. We have to be very careful about where we are and when we're there, and I have had several panic attacks that were very scary. Very scary. If you've ever had one, you know. Yeah. A panic attack, you know, can bring on increased heart rate, sweating, a feeling of impending doom. You may even take it to the millionth degree. Ask any one of my children. I go to the worst case scenario 9 times out of 10, and quite possibly 10 times out of 10. I can build it up in my mind to where I will not make a phone call for fear that I have figured out the answer to the question, and I don't want to hear it. I just have made it so awful that I'm not going to do it. And I know I'm kind of all over the place here, but hear me out. Depression, I have had a history of depression pretty much all my life, and I think that it definitely got worse when I had my stroke. You put that kind of burden onto the human mind, and you know that everything is going to change. It's going to change. Your body's going to change. Your financial status is going to change. You know, I am currently living off of one third of what I made most years, and that is just, it's awful. It's an awful amount of stress, and thank goodness for my husband, because if I wasn't with somebody who made me feel so incredibly good about myself, then I could fall into the pitfalls that occur during this time of year. Depression and suicide rates go up in the winter, and especially around the holiday time. And there's such a stigma about talking about depression and anxiety and panic attacks, and God forbid, post-traumatic stress disorders caused by an assault on a little girl. You know, nobody wants to talk about it. I should have been talking about this at 5 years old. But that wasn't what you did back then, you know? You just didn't do that. And so I want people to open up a dialogue and to start talking about their depression as a disease, as a condition that it is, not as something that you need to be ashamed of, not something that you need to hide and pretend that it doesn't exist. Because by talking, I see a therapist now twice a month. She's a psychologist, and she's amazing. And by talking to her, I have learned many, many things about myself. And I've developed some coping mechanisms to help me with my panic. And there is so much information out there. And, you know, depression, it doesn't matter. Depression can occur in any age group, in any financial bracket. You know, it's not just people that are living in poverty that are depressed. I can tell you that there are probably people living way below my means that are happier. And I am at the happiest point in my life, and yet I still struggle with this depression. I still struggle with the anxiety. I fear so many things all the time, really, and it affects my sleep. You know, if you are having trouble sleeping, if you are having trouble getting yourself out of bed every day, if you're trying to rationalize, you know, why you shouldn't go outside and be with people, and I mean, these are all signs of clinical depression, and there's so much out there. Now, I do a combination of therapy and medication, and not everybody does. Some people just need the therapy. Some people need both, and some people need even more than that. And, you know, mental illness is an illness, and I really want people to open up and talk about it and not be afraid to talk about it. One of my assignments that I have is to write down my story. And it's the hardest thing. Because the minute I start to, I'm that little girl. And oddly enough, I've had people in my own family ask me why I'm not over it yet. And you don't just get over things like that. And I know I'm looking like a miserable mess and I'm crying, but it's because I'm wanting you to all to take a look inside yourself and see if there is something that's bothering you that can be talked about, that can be worked out. And if it's not you, maybe you have a friend that you're concerned about. Maybe you have a relative that you're concerned about. We need to talk to each other. We need to talk to a therapist or a psychiatrist or our family doctor. We need to talk about it. And it's so hard for me. So hard. And this is a step for me. This is part of my recovery from what has happened in my life. And I don't want to make any excuses. I don't want to blame anymore. I'm way past blame. I've come to terms with whose fault things were, and I needed to do this for me, and I needed to do it for Chloe, and I needed to do it for Cassie, and I needed to do it for all of those people who are willing to come out and talk about their depression and their issues. And what a wonderful world it would be if we really just started talking to each other more. I love this opportunity to be able to reach hundreds of people, you know, and I know that, you know, this isn't a happy-go-lucky makeup video, and, you know, this isn't all smiles and sunshine, but it can be. This is a part of my healing, and I thank you all for listening to me. I hope that you all are going to consider looking into yourself, looking into others, you know, and talking to others, talking not about people. Let's not talk about them. My Lord, there's enough talking about people. You know, talk to them. You know, this is good. But talking to somebody, a real person who can talk back, is great. And we need to be doing more of it. I hope that you'll continue to watch my channel. I hope that you'll watch the series that I plan to do with Chloe, because we may tackle some issues that, you know, are difficult to talk about, but we're going to do it. And I will definitely always make the subject of my video very clear so that you do not have to watch it if this is not the kind of video that you want to watch. And Chloe, I love you so much, and I thank you for bringing this to light. And Cassie, you're an inspiration. I hope you watch this.